In 1947, India gained independence from over 200 years of colonial rule. In the same year, the Madras Devadasis Prevention of Dedication Act of 1947 was passed. Since the early 20th century, cultural revivalism, led by mostly upper caste Indians, had run parallel and complementary to the Indian nationalist movement for independence. Dance, specifically Bharatanatyam, which would become the proto-classical form of the newly independent nation, was inextricably bound into this nationalist project. Newspapers became the site where much of this debate on the need to save the dance played itself out, and where women who were hereditary practitioners of dance were vilified on a regular basis. Post-independence, as dance was lifted off the sullied body of the hereditary performer and placed on upper caste bodies considered reputable enough to carry the moral weight of the newly formed nation, the newspaper continued to play a role in how the dancing body needed to behave. Dance reviews performed the function of disciplining the classical dancer on stage, ensuring that they did not slip into any bodily comportment of excess or disrepute. Terms like Angashuddhi came up repeatedly in these reviews, a term which translates into purity of the limbs. It would be replicated in English as clarity of lines or bodily control or clean movements. Literally broken down, Anga means limbs, while Shuddhi implies purity, pointing simultaneously to the bodily purity the dancer citizen must necessarily employ to belong to the nation. A part of my research examines how words in popular media, especially like newspapers, have shaped the dancing body, transforming those dancers who perform classical dance into the dancer citizen. I use the term dancer citizen to emphasize how Indian classical dance creates registers of identity and belonging to the nation in its enactment. The dancer animates the nation into being. Hi, my name is Ranjini and I'm a PhD student at the Faculty of Education. My research looks at how Indian classical dance replicates social and religious hierarchies in its practice and performance. I'm also a Kuchipudi practitioner, which is why I've decided that my research was necessarily going to be practice-based, because I wanted to bring all the amazing research that academics had already done around this idea of Indian classical dance replicating social and religious hierarchies into the practice space or into the performance space. And one of the ways in which I've thought about practice-based research for dance is in thinking about how writing on dance impacts the performing body. So that's what you'll probably encounter in the short film, where I've looked at archival material, I've looked at dance reviews, and as well as other writing on dance to look at how those words have impacted the body. Words like grace, words like fluidity, words like Angashuddhi, what do they mean? How do they weigh down, or how do they lift up the dancing body?
Ranjini's research and the argument that she puts forward in the film is very much about finding connections between different forms like newspaper articles and dance performances, and picking up on how they influence each other in maybe surprising ways. So as a filmmaker, as an editor, the task was very much about how to bring those disparate elements together in a way that emphasized their connection. So superimposing text on images of dancers, or cutting together different aspects of the Indian Republic Day Parade which has dancers alongside military parades on the same day as a celebration of Indian nationhood. In terms of the soundtrack, I've used a lot of the music that came with the archive videos, and I've also used a sound that I recorded when we worked together in Cambridge, and I recorded some of Ranjini dancing, and there's a sound of her stepping or stomping during one of the dances with bells around her ankles that I've taken and used as a kind of percussive device to structure or break up the film, so that the sense of dance is kind of diffused across the whole film.
As a practice-based researcher, I thought that the Cambridge Creative Encounters program was a really, really interesting way for me to look at how I could visually represent the research that I was doing via a short film. And it's been so exciting to collaborate with Lewis on this project, and I'm really excited to hear what everyone who watches it will think about it. So thank you.
I'd like to thank Cambridge Creative Encounters for the opportunity, which has been great and really unusual and very enriching in a number of ways. And Ranjini for the creative dialogue we've had, and for introducing me to the world of her research, which is fascinating.